From humble beginnings to the pinnacle of success, one man's journey proves that with determination, anything is possible. This is Catch as Catch Can with George Tinsley Sr., inspiring conversations of triumph over adversity. Here's George.
Kentucky Wesleyan holds a special place in my heart, and today I'm catching up with two legendary figures whose voices, dedication, and behind-the-scenes magic have defined the heart of the Panther athletics for decades. Joel Utley, the icon voice of the Panthers, retired after calling nearly 2,000 basketball games over 61 years, the longest tenured college broadcaster in history. And Roy Pickerill, who spent over half a century shaping the identity of Kentucky Wesleyan sports, served as the college sports information director and continues to support the school as special assistant for college relations. Between them, they've seen it all: championships, buzzer beaters, historic milestones, and unforgettable people. They both are great friends of mine, and I'm glad to have them on our podcast today of Catch as Catch Can. And guys, we're going to have some fun here and kick it off. Joel, let's give us a little bit of background on your tenure.
George, thank you for having me on. It's a real pleasure and a distinct honor, I can guarantee you that. And I never dreamed of anything like this when I was a kid growing up in Madisonville, which is an hour away from Owensboro. Growing up, I never wanted to do anything but be a radio announcer. Never wanted to do anything else. And I'll tell you what, George, when I retired at the age of, I don't know what I was when I retired, I'm 85 now. But I'll tell you one thing, I never worked a day in my life. Never. I took the paycheck, they paid me, and I took the paycheck. Never worked a day in my life. Always, I listened to St. Louis Cardinal games on the radio, and then I became Harry Carey when he was not on the radio, and then followed University of Kentucky basketball back then when they were the only station that you could get in the Commonwealth. And from that, I mean, I've just all the way, my whole life has been nothing but radio, and I've enjoyed every moment of it, and a lot of it thanks to you.
Well, Joel, I appreciate you. You have been a big part of our lives, especially during the late 60s there at Wesleyan when we were on our championship tour of 4 years there, winning 3 championships and coming in 4th. You were a big part of our lives, encouraging us off the floor and promoting us on the floor. So I want you to know that personally, I appreciate you, and I'm sure my friends, my teammates feel the same way about you. Roy, you've been on campus in one way or another since your days as a student in the 70s. What was it about KWC that made you feel like home for a lifetime?
It all started with one of your classmates, LaDonna Coker, who was my geometry teacher in high school. And I was looking for a college. She says, "Why don't you come down?" She brought me down. Her and her husband brought me down to visit Kentucky Wesleyan. And that's where I learned about what you and Dallas, Tommy, everybody else did those magnificent 4 years. And that just wanted me to come to Kentucky Wesleyan. And I've never, ever wanted to leave this college because I'm starting my 55th year in August, and I'll be here until I'm 6 feet under.
Well, Roy, you've witnessed some of every era of Kentucky Wesleyan basketball, the successes. Of course, you were still in high school when we were winning. Matter of fact, you may not even have been in high school back in the days when we were winning those championships, but I'm sure you actually heard of some of our success down there, and hopefully that had some influence as well. And if I recall correctly, one of my teammates actually was a teacher of yours, Van Stennett, there in high school. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. Van Stennett and all of his cars
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
day he'd come to high school and have a different car.
He was known for that. He was known for that. So, what are some of the behind the scenes challenges and joys of working together, both broadcast and SID that you and Joel have had?
I can tell you one thing. I never, before I could even think I needed something, Roy had it for me. Roy was perceptive. Roy knew his job, and he knew what I needed and what I really wanted before I did most of the time. He would give me information and statistics and keep me up to date all the time and ahead of the game. It was wonderful to be with Roy Pickerill, and I still feel that way.
Yeah. Well, I can attest, and Roy, I'm going to let you respond here, but I can attest that when I first met Roy, when he was taking over running things there at Wesleyan, he always had all of the figures and rebounds and assists and all the data that they started keeping more after we left. But he always threatened me, though, that if I wasn't nice to him, he was going to delete some of my rebounds and some of my assists. I always had to be real nice to him. Roy, what worked best for you and Joel working together?
Well, I tell you what, I got interested in sports information because of Joel. We were on a
Okay.
road trip, I think, to Southwest Missouri, and he showed me an NCAA college basketball press kit, and I was so fascinated about it. And I asked him more about, the sports information, because at the time he was the voice of the Panthers, but he also was our sports information person too. So that bus trip to Southwest Missouri and Joel is the reason I became a sports information director.
Wow, I didn't know that. Joel, you recall that?
I do. We made all of our trips on the bus back then. Let me tell you, two things about the buses back then: no air conditioning and no restrooms.
Yep, yep.
That's a different story, though.
Yeah,
That's a different
yeah.
story.
Well, that All American Club, they traveled on their own. They had a bus also that they followed us in back in
Yeah.
yeah. So, Joe, you've called 8 national championships. What is your greatest memory?
George, I don't think we have enough time for the rest of the day for me to recall all my great memories. But let me underscore something right now, and I'm glad you brought this question up. 18 seconds. 18 seconds. That was the difference in us and our position in basketball today.
I
We were
recall.
playing in Durham, North Carolina, in the regional tournament. We were playing South Carolina State out of Orangeburg. Their record going into that game, the first game of the regional tournament, 23-1. Our record was 19-4. We had lost 2 of our last 6 games on the regular season. I can't speak for George, but I can speak for several of the other guys. Grumbling, a season was over. We were 19-6. Forget it. We don't want to go over there to South Carolina and play in any kind of tournament. Let's get the heck out of here and call it a season. On the way over there, in the rain, my car had a flat tire. We fixed it and went on the way. Now, South Carolina State. They were leading in the ball game. 18 seconds to go. We were down 5 points. 18 seconds. Remember that. Don Bradley, a senior from Shawneetown, Illinois, made a field goal, and it was a 3-point game. We steal the basketball on the inbounds. Missed the opportunity. South Carolina State gets the basketball down by 3. They missed the field goal. We get the rebound. We come up floor, and a guy named George Tinsley gets fouled. 5 seconds to play. Down by 3. George Tinsley, a freshman, goes to the free throw line, makes the first free throw. 2-point game. 5 seconds to go. Second free throw, wasn't planned, missed it. Sam Smith, from the number 2 rebounding position along the left lane, jumps into the alley and tips that basketball in. Overtime. In the overtime, we outscored them 18-10 and won that ball game. The next night, we played Oglethorpe. Coach Guy Strong said we're going to play their type of game. At halftime, we had 20 points. We led that game the whole way. Oglethorpe was one of these teams that was just taking their time, and they never got in a hurry. But they didn't have to. The game was over at halftime. But you go back to those 18 seconds, we were down by 5 points, and we win that first game in the regional tournament. Otherwise, could have been back in Owensboro on that following Sunday.
Yeah.
18 seconds made the difference in a Kentucky Wesleyan all-time tradition and just another ball game.
Yes. I remember that vividly, and as you were going through it, it came back to me how that all happened and where Sam was and the whole piece. That is what vaulted us into the finals, and from there we took matters in our own hands. So that was my freshman year. So
let me underscore one other thing. In that ball game, Sam Smith had transferred to us from the University of Louisville, and he was 6'6", 230, and he was built just like you would expect him to be built, like a tank.
yes,
But in that basketball game, he had 33 points and 18 rebounds. George Tinsley had 11 points and 8 rebounds, our second leading rebounder as a freshman. I'm telling you, the team was built for championships, but 18 seconds is all that we had hanging in the balance.
yeah. I think that game really matured all of us and pulled us together as a team, and as you indicated, vaulted us into that whole momentum that we could do it, and we moved into the finals in Evansville, closer to home. And the hometown crowd, it was just like playing a home game. It was on. And you know, the other part about that, I'll be with you in a second, Roy. The other part about that, the championship game, Joel, do you remember? I didn't know this, had forgotten about it, but we had no substitutes in that championship game.
That's right. Guy Strong, I tell you, rest his soul. Guy, you loved him off the court, on the court. Man, well, you fill in the blanks. Yeah. But I'll tell you one thing, he was tough.
Not live. I can't do it live.
He was tough.
Yeah.
And you went out on the court, you put your helmet on, brother.
Yes.
And you were going to stay until you got the job done. And yes, sir, no substitutions, not a single one in that championship game. Starting five from start to finish.
Yeah. You recall the starting five?
Starting five? Sure I do. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We had a freshman named George Tinsley. We had a junior named Sam Smith. We had a junior named Dallas Thornton, George's teammate in high school. Roger Cordell was a senior from Whitley City, Kentucky, and the other senior was Don Bradley from Shawneetown, Illinois.
Yep, that's true.
Unbelievable ball club.
Yeah.
And such a thrill. We played Southern Illinois in the championship game. We played them twice during the regular season. It was a close game at Carbondale, but then the last week of the regular season, they beat us 20 points at the Sports Center.
Right.
68-48. Jack Hartman was their coach, and as he was going out the Gate 5 entrance of the Sports Center, I said, "Coach, I can't believe that." He said, "I never want to see you guys again." Well, we did see each other again, and it was in the finals of the NCAA National Championship game at Roberts Stadium at Evansville, and we won it. 54-51. It was a thriller. Sam Smith, got a hook shot off the right lane, banked it in, and gave us the lead 53-51. Later down the court, we added a free throw, winning it 54-51. Evansville fans were unhappy because they love Southern Illinois. Kentucky Wesleyan fans were ecstatic, and so was this announcer.
Yeah, that was a great run. We began that year and won 2 more championships and came in 3rd place. And I think probably 4 years of the greatest runs that's been. And we today are on the list of the Naismith Hall of Fame. Hopefully one day we'll get that vote to get us over the hump and move up and get that Hall of Fame nod. Roy, from your vantage point, you have been a part of a number of championships yourself there at Wesleyan. Tell us a little bit about your experiences.
I've been part of 5. My first one was when I was a student manager on the 73 national championship team. And God, I remember that night vividly. It was unbelievable. Coach Jones and Mike Williams, Rogers Orange, James Green, General Ralston, Steve Walker, Mike Surgent, so many others. But that first national championship, I couldn't believe it. I, read and heard about all the stories, especially from you and your teammates, of what it's like to win a national championship. And there I am, a sophomore, 73, being part of a national championship. And I hurried upstairs. You remember how Robert Stadium was, to find the phone. I had to run up the stairs to find the phone, called my mom and dad saying, I just won national championship and I got a gold watch in my hand. That was a great experience. Something I'll never forget.
Yeah. Roy, I'm going to interrupt you here a second. You mentioned one key thing, and that is the watch, the gold watch. Today, these guys get rings, and they're getting bigger and bigger. And I don't think very many people know that during those early days, we used to get that gold bull of a watch that you get when you win the championship. I still have one of my 3 still left. The other 2 I gave away, but I look at that every year about March Madness time. But I just wanted to highlight that because not very many people know that. But go ahead.
Well, now they get mini trophies instead of the watch. But then if the college wants to get the student athletes and coaches rings, they have to pay for it. And there's a limit on how much they could spend on rings. And I think it's $250 or something. But they still honor the students with these nice mini replicas of the national championship trophy.
That's great.
George, let me add one thing on Roy talking about the 73 championship team. Interesting point is the head coach for Tennessee State in that championship game, and that whole season, of course, was a fellow named Ed Martin. He was also the coach for South Carolina State, the team that we beat in Durham in 1966.
Okay. Yeah. Didn't know that. You both of you guys have been honored with numerous Hall of Fame inductions, Lifetime Achievement Awards. How's that recognition compared to the day-to-day pride you've taken in your work?
Well, Roy's got more than they ever printed. I mean, it's unbelievable how many awards he's gotten.
I think about them a lot, but all I ever wanted to be was a good SID, and Joel was my mentor, and he's the reason that I've had the success I've had because of what he taught me in his classroom, like on the bus or in games, but it's a tremendous honor that all the awards I have gotten, and for all three of us, we're all in the Small College Basketball Hall of Fame, and we're all in the Kentucky Sports Hall of Fame. And that doesn't happen very often. And plus, Dallas is in there, Coach Strong is in there. We have more people in the Basketball Hall of Fame's small college in Kentucky than any other small college in the state of Kentucky. And that is overwhelming.
That's truly an honor, and you both have done so much for Kentucky Wesleyan sports and also Kentucky Wesleyan athletes. And when it comes time to do research, when it comes time to find out, what's going on with Wesleyan and all the milestones and recognition that we get, we owe it to both of you and Roy, from your vantage point, being right there on campus and being able to keep us all in touch with things. I have served on the foundation board, and now as a trustee emeritus. I rely on information that I get from you, and certainly touching base with Joel on a ongoing basis to understand what's happening, and how, from my position as an alumnus, to be able to give back, help out in different ways. So I want to thank both of you for that at this particular point, because without the two of you and your history and knowledge of things, is really keeps us as former players in tune with what's happening. So thank you for that. Joel, let's see, you described it at one point, I think you mentioned a little bit earlier, that you never really looked at your position as a job, but you loved everything that you've done. Tell me a little bit about how that evolved.
George, I came to Owensboro from Lexington. I was working at a radio station there, WVLK in Lexington, and was working with a fellow who came to Owensboro a year ahead of me. And subsequent to that time, I was talking to him on the telephone from Lexington, and he in Owensboro. And I said, "How much longer are you going to be in Owensboro anyway?" And he said, "Oh, not long. Probably another 2 weeks, and I'm going to move to Louisville and be with WAKY." I said, "Well, I think I'll apply for your position." So I did, and I got the job down here. And I tell you, from day one, I absolutely loved it. In fact, I wasn't supposed to start till July the 1st of 1961, and I came the day early because I wanted to make sure everything was in place and I knew where I was going. So when I got there the next day, I could hit the ground running. And it's been that way ever since. I just absolutely love what I did. And at the end of the regular day, and this, I met the smartest guy that you ever met. And it wasn't until very recently that I realized that my basketball broadcasts, and when I first came here, high school basketball and high school football, in addition to Kentucky Wesleyan basketball, was all at the end of the regular day. It wasn't part of my regular work day. And so when I got off work, I grabbed my radio equipment, ran out to the sports center, or if it was earlier in the day, I'd get on the bus and ride with the team. We get back from Carbondale about 2 or 3 in the morning, and then I'd go to work the next morning at 8 o'clock. Never thought anything about it because I just loved what I did. And it didn't occur to me about that extra duty, as it were, until very recently. So, like I say, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, and it just occurred to me I should put in for overtime, shouldn't I?
That's right. Well, you said that you're not the sharpest knife, but we didn't know it. We felt that you were, because you certainly were a true professional, and how you were able to navigate and work with Coach Strong and stay calm and poised during some of his, I'll call them exciting times, especially after a game that we lost. You didn't say a word to, everybody's quiet as a church mouse, as they would say, but you were a true professional, and we really appreciate everything that you've done and honored us over the years. I want to ask also before I jump to Roy, who are some of the key people in Kentucky that you had a chance to interview in your tenure there?
One of the players, one of the guys, the last game that we won in the regular season of 1966, the coach for Bellarmine, and we played Bellarmine that year, the last game of the regular season. And it was the last college coaching position for Alex Rosa. That was the last year he was a college basketball coach. Some of the others that I've had the opportunity to interview over the years, it blows me away when I have the opportunity to draw them together. Some of the guys that, for instance, A-Rad McCutcheon, my goodness sakes, college division national basketball coach of the year many years, won championship after championship at the University of Evansville. And you had an opportunity of somebody like that. And the list could go on and on and on. And some of the best guys that I've interviewed were our Kentucky Wesleyan coaches, because George, you know yourself that we had a lot of national coaches of the year, Guy Sprung and Bob Daniels and Bob Jones, and the list. Those are just starters, brother. We had some outstanding coaches at Kentucky Wesleyan, and to be able to interview them, yes. And of course, Adolph Rupp, I had the opportunity to interview him, and Peck Hickman at Louisville, and the coaches that we had the opportunity to play against. There was Jack Hartman at Southern Illinois University, later went to University of Kansas as the head coach. Right. And I'll be hard pressed. Ed Martin was another fine one, South Carolina State and then Tennessee State, later became the assistant coach at Vanderbilt. And these were all impressive guys to me, and they were also very, very nice. And it would be hard for me to say one over the other, except my Kentucky Wesleyan head coaches moved to the top.
Yeah, so I appreciate you mentioning a few of those. Roy, as someone who's worked to tell stories of others, what was it like being honored and having your own story told? Yeah.
It was humbling, but also it was funny, because when they talk about, they also maybe spread a little bit too much jam on the bread.
No, impossible. You can't say too much about Roy. It's all true. Hardest working guy you ever saw.
Yeah.
Remember to give you that $10 I owe you. But I think I know I'm so blessed to being able to do what I've done for starting on 55 years. I'm like Joel. I don't think I've ever worked a day in my life either. But I learned so much from Joel back in those early days, and they have stuck with me all these years. But when somebody says nice things about you, it means a lot. And every once in a while, I'll think about it. George, I was up at Churchill Downs last Saturday when we had our alumni function up there. And you know what I thought of the most? When you and I and Dallas were together in the media center.
Right.
For that introduction. And that was priceless.
Yeah.
But being honored by your peers is something great. And then my own SIDs across the country gave me probably the ultimate honor that I could get from my SIDs was by naming an award in my honor. That was amazing.
You deserve it all, Roy. You deserve every bit of it, brother.
Yes, well deserved. And Roy, I had to make it up from Florida to that occasion of you getting inducted in the Kentucky Athletic Hall of Fame. because you deserved it. You helped us, each one of us, Dallas and myself. Which tell me if I'm correct or not, but there's not too many other small college players from the state of Kentucky or in the state of Kentucky that have been inducted in the Hall of Fame, Kentucky Athletic Hall of Fame. Is that correct?
It's now called the Sports Hall of Fame now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, you're correct. I mean, when you talk about King Kelly Coleman, you, Dallas, Coach Strong, Joel Utley, myself, I mean,
And
the
Joel.
number of representatives of Kentucky Wesleyan is more than any other small college in the state.
Yeah. That's it's quite an honor. So, what do you think the future for Kentucky Wesleyan looks like as far as the basketball program?
I think we're just going to continue to build what we've got. It hasn't been easy with this NLI and transfer rules. It hasn't been easy, but we'll be okay. We just got to stay the course. And our schedule will be upgraded all the time because of what's going on in the landscape of college athletics. But it's going to be in good shape. We got to stay on top of it the whole time, and we will.
Yeah. One of the special things that I always tell youngsters, young athletes that are looking for a college that about Kentucky Wesleyan is how special it was for me going there. And even though I played at Louisville Middle High School and we played before big crowds and so forth, there was something special at Wesleyan where you're playing in front of a close-knit community. You get playing with the student body, which is not a big student body, 1,700 or so, and your professors that are there, and those that are involved in the athletic program. Is just a special environment, and it has been that way as long as I can recall. That it for some players coming out of high school that haven't had a whole lot of exposure but have a lot of potential. I think Kentucky Wesleyan is an excellent opportunity for developing a career and a career after education there. And the guys that I went to school with, but 60 plus years ago, we still stay in touch with one another. And I know we irritate you, Roy, quite a bit, but we still stay in touch, and that's a friendship and relationships that you get involved with at a small college that you just don't find at a big college and jumping all over the place.
It's the camaraderie, George.
Yeah.
That word camaraderie means so much to all of us. And I see that in every team that we have here. I don't care what sport it is, but the camaraderie I see out of your teams from that 4 years and the stories, some may be true, some may not. Just depends on if you talk to your Nebo brother. But the camaraderie at Kentucky Wesleyan is magical. At times I think of that and I'm thinking, it's like Disneyland or Disney World. It's a magical place. Yeah. That's what I think of Kentucky Wesleyan.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that you mentioned, our Nebo connection, Tommy Hobgood. Tommy always says when we get together, he says we set the standard too high. He
continues, and he still says that to this day.
That's his phrase. We set the bar too high. So in some ways he may be correct, but bars are always set to be broken. So hopefully we come up with a group there that breaks the records that we had at Wesleyan during our 4-year runs. It's going to be a little difficult, but hopefully that happens. Joel, as we come to the end of our program, is there anything that you would like to say about Kentucky Wesleyan College environment and what your feelings are?
George, I don't think we've got enough time for me to express my sincere feelings for Kentucky Wesleyan College. The school has been so good to me, so understanding, and given me the opportunity to broadcast the Kentucky Wesleyan basketball games for 61 years and almost 2,000 broadcasts of the men's basketball and some for the women as well. It's been a magical ride for me, and I thank God for the opportunity. I thank God for my health to be able to do the games for 85 years. No, not quite 85, 61 years. I didn't start out from the crib, but anyway, I'm 85 now.
Yes, yes.
Anyway, to be able to do the games as I have, and my wife understanding when I had to be out of town, and my kids growing up, and ball boys, and coming to the games and helping and doing all the things they can. It's been a family affair for me, not only from my personal family, but also my family of Kentucky Wesleyan. And you spoke about your fellow teammates like Dick O'Neill and Rodney Kirtley, who keep everything flowing on the internet about Kentucky Wesleyan. Dallas Thornton gets in there on occasion. And then we branched out and got a lot of other players. Corey Crowder, another All-American from Kentucky Wesleyan, is on from time to time. But there's lots of fellows out there who stay in touch. They may not communicate with us directly, but they get the message and they become vital. It's just remarkable, remarkable, remarkable how far the reach of Kentucky Wesleyan basketball goes. And it is primarily because of the success that you, as a freshman and playing 4 years at Kentucky Wesleyan, made possible. And it's Dallas Thornton from your high school as well. And the fellows on that 66 team, gracious sakes, what are the chances in this day and time we would get a Sam Smith to transfer from Division I to Division II and be a first team All-American in Division II, and at the same time have the success that we had with Sam. Sam wasn't the only one. Now, I'm not saying that, but Sam was what we call the horse, brother. He got the job done, and like I said earlier in the games, even that South Carolina game, 33 points and 18 rebounds. That's pretty good day's work.
Yeah.
And you were right in that same mix, brother, when as you matured up through the line there, George.
Yeah.
And seeing you fellows come as freshmen and grow and expand like you had and like you did and become the successes that you are today. Not just you, George, but the other guys.
Yes.
Tim Etcherson, for instance, and the fellas, the young man who has done such a beautiful job with the community in Owensboro was a player of ours. Roy, you underscore that young man who's done such a marvelous job naming a business after his mother and so involved in the community. That's what Kentucky Wesleyan basketball does. Kentucky Wesleyan does it, and they do it through basketball as well as other sports. Right. But basketball seems to be the high bouncer at this particular time. But gracious sakes alive, it's been just a marvelous, marvelous experience for me, and one I look forward to coming up in the very near future. I love it.
Right. Before I jump to you, Roy, I will mention that I think it should be mentioned that during the 60s, the mid 60s, the late 60s, when I came to Wesleyan, there was a lot of racial unrest, and we had players to come from Nebo, Kentucky, from Hazard, Kentucky, from a lot of the small towns that there wasn't a lot of racial intermixing and so forth, that Coach Strong was able to pull us all together, and we loved one another. We fought one another. We would practice at the sports center, and then we would come back to the college, grab a meal, and then head to the Quonset hut. If you ever saw that place or remember that, then we would go in there and play for another 2 hours, come out of there bloody, mad at each other, or holding our had on who got the most points, the most rebounds, and things of that nature. And so that was a big part of the molding of that championship year and moving forward for the next 4 years. Roy, what do you think? What do you think special about Wesleyan and moving forward in your area of sports information and the role that you play?
Oh Lord, that's a wide open question there.
Well, you wrote the book.
I haven't written any book. Everybody says I should, but I just want to make sure that people know about our championship tradition. See, at Kentucky Wesleyan, a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, you got a winning tradition." No. And I repeat, no. We have a championship tradition because we win championships. And there's a big difference between a championship tradition and a winning tradition. And I emphasize that all the time with people when they say, "Oh yeah, you got a winning tradition." I say, no, we don't. We just have, we've been blessed, Joel and I, combined with his 60 plus, my 55. I think we got maybe a little over 100 years together about Kentucky Wesleyan basketball. We eat, we breathe Kentucky Wesleyan. That's all there is. And that's all there will be for us.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things, too, I want to highlight, and both of you guys may know this, but of the 6 freshmen that came in with me in 1965, all of us graduated with a degree on time. And that was the first time that it had happened for the athletes. That was the first time that happened in Wesleyan history. And I don't know how many times it's happened since as far as a incoming class to finish 4 years and graduate. And for myself, receiving an Okanavi Award and several other key awards during the time there, and meeting my wife there also was just made it something special for me. And I just think that for certain athletes out there, Kentucky Wesleyan is the prototype for a guy to go to a college and graduate with a degree and long-term relationships with those that he met, while there. So I want to thank both of you for being on the program and relating your experiences, your history with us today. And my book, Catch as Catch Can, which is promotes this podcast, is turning obstacles to opportunities. And both of you have really informed the audience today of some great history, and I appreciate both of you. I love both of you. I appreciate everything that you've done for Kentucky Wesleyan and for me and for my teammates. So I want to thank you.
Well, thank you, George, for having us. But we've only hit the tip of the iceberg. What stories and the passion and what was done in all these years. And there's more great things to come.
George, I can't thank you enough. You and your teammates, I want you to know I love you.
We appreciate it. And need to say any more. I know where we're headed, okay?
This has been Catch as Catch Can. Your success story is waiting to be written. What will you catch today? Go to tinsleyspeaks.com for exclusive content, resources, and opportunities. Catch as Catch Can with George Tinsley Sr. is a production of Advantage Media.